Hello everybody, I'm Ernest. Today we're in downtown San Antonio. We're going to be going into the University of Texas Institution of Texan Culture. It's been closed for a few years now since COVID has been around. Across the street is the Alamo Dome. What you just saw is the hemisphere. My daughters are looking at the flags. I guess these are all the flags that flew under Texas, over Texas, not under. And so let's go inside. I just come to realize I misspoke about the flags flying over Texas. These are the different cultures that are here in Texas. Like this is Ireland. I never heard of Hesse and Greece, and each of these columns have a different flags and what countries. Denmark, England, France. Anyway, these are just the different cultures that are here in Texas. All right, well, this here brings back a lot of childhood memories. This was the cable cars, and they used to go across San Antonio, and I remember riding these when I was a kid. Oh, look, it has a lion in there. I think the reason it had the lion is because it would start at the zoo. So that's probably why there's an animal on there. So I was just talking to the security guard, and he was telling us that this place is haunted. And I remember watching a TV show about this place and it being haunted. And he was telling me all the stories of the ghosts and stuff that he's personally witnessed. So hopefully, maybe we'll see some of those today. So this board right here can remind you that this place was built for the World's Fair in 1968, and it was called the Hemisphere. And that's when this whole institution came about. And these are all the people that were involved in the Hemisphere. John Conley, I was talking to the security guard. John Conley, Lady Bird Johnson, all that era. So, not really sure what this is. It's just, oh, okay, so these are different pictures of people and their origins. Mexico, Germany, Scott, Filipino, just all the different cultures that live here in Texas and where they're from. This is one of the iconic symbols of the Institute of Texas. It's been here for a long time. The Texas flag. Other doesn't want to be identified. So this little exhibit has some native Indian artifacts, so I'm pretty sure they're not real. They are contrived and made to represent the Native Americans that were here before all the other cultures, I guess. Irish Texans. I myself am a Mexican and German descent. My grandfather immigrated from Germany. I'm trying to figure out what this is. This must be real ancient. No, plastic bottles and oak farms, milk carton. Came from Germany, and my other side of the family is Mexican or Mexican American. Texas one and all, English, Rice, Scott. Let's see what the claim to fame to this piano is. Looks very old. Player piano, 1922. This piano was made by the, I can't even pronounce that, piano company in New York in 1922. While it can be played as a normal piano, you can play tunes using perforated paper. So it can play mechanically, or you can play it if you know how to play it. Tejano. Tejano is a culture that is here in Texas. It's basically people like myself, a Mexican American, and the heritage. Let's go see what's over here first. Scottish Texans, English Texans. All came to this land. It was wide open frontier back then. So here we're walking into the Tejano exhibit. Who are the Tejanos? Well, many are used to describe Texas as Spanish American heritage. I guess that would include myself.
Their contributions to the Texan identity and culture are significant, and it can be seen all around us in architecture, art and music, in the foods we eat, and in the ranching, farming, and labor industries that have built Texas. For too many years, Tejanos and their many contributions remained in the shadows, but among the Tejano community, their stories stayed alive, repeated around the kitchen table and at family gatherings.
That's Freddie Fender. My mother met his mother at a hospital. One time my niece was in the hospital, and they became friends. This is the one thing that we are known for here in San Antonio is food and the abundance of Mexican food. More of the exhibit of the Hispanics led here. You know, the cowboys that Texas is known for first started in Spain, and the Spaniards that were here brought their culture of what they call vaqueros, and they had the spurs and all the other stuff that later the Americans took their version of it and made their own cowboy hat and their own version of what a cowboy is. But it really is started with the Hispanic community. Military is big here in San Antonio. As a matter of fact, we're called Military Town, USA. We have Kelly Air Force Base, Lackland Air Force Base, Fort Sam Houston, BAMC, one of the leading military medical facilities here in San Antonio, and we have Camp Bullis, all here in San Antonio. And that's why they call us Military Town, USA. This is the center of the exhibit. Trying to capture a exhibit of a ghost. That's what I want to see. So here I was talking to a gentleman here, and he was telling me about this chuck wagon. This actual was owned by the Union Army and converted into a chuck wagon, but it's made by Studebaker. I don't know if you can read it right down there, but you can see Studebaker is the same name that you might be familiar with the car manufacturers that went out of business a long time ago. But this is an actual wagon. You can see the brakes on here, and this must be the brake handle. Really nice. It's very stout made. I think it would have to be bouncing around on the trails. And this over here, he was telling me that this cow was from actually John Wayne's private herd, one of the last ones, and it was stuffed, and it's here on exhibit here at Texas Culture Museum. So here we have a hearse that was donated by the sisters from Castroville. As a matter of fact, this whole area is. And he was telling me that sometimes you can pick up voices, and that it's in German, and there was a brother calling out for another brother. Another interesting story about this hearse, it says during Prohibition they used to smuggle liquor in the hearse. I guess because they figured nobody would look in there. And this one came from Castroville, Texas. This is something that really brings back memories. This was a scraper, and we had one at the ranch, and there is a man-made pond there by the land. You've probably seen it in my videos where I'm shooting the guns and there's this pond there. Well, this is how it was made. My grandfather and a horse and would scrape up that pond was one of these. That brings back a lot of memories. And you can see it in my videos when I'm shooting the guns and you see me by the pond. Well, that's one of the tools that was used to carve out the pond in that area. There's a lot of history here. I would definitely recommend coming out here to the Texan Culture Institution. There's a lot to see, and it's free. And I donated some cash, and but if you don't have to, but I did. So here's in the corner of the institute. If there's any spirits that would like to say something, speak into this device that I'm holding, if you wish to communicate, I might be surprised what I hear, or I don't hear nothing. Let's go find the girls. So these are the actual, not the actual, but the flags that flew over Texas. Spain, France, then it became Mexico, and then it became Texas. And then we were under the Confederate United States and United States of America. So these are the original Six Flags, much like the Six Flags of Texas theme park. These are the Six Flags that flew over Texas. So this is a little house that represents a slave worker's home. I would argue that this is kind of bigger than most. I would think bigger than most slaves' houses would look like. We had little houses at the ranch that would house the workers that worked the ranch. So this is very similar to what they would have had at those times. All right, guys. Well, that is all there's left to do here is leave. I recommend this place, the Institution of Texas Cultures, owned by the University of Texas. And I'll see you next time.